Okay, good morning, and happy Thursday. Happy 28th. All subscriptions have run. And it was so funny. I actually literally didn't go in my back office to look, but I actually love the 28th because it's like so exciting because here's the thing. Most of the time, we've got more people at the end of the month than we do at the beginning of the month, right? Because if we only worked the entire month like we do the last few days, just think about how different it would be. So we can think about that in front end loading our business next month. But let's face it, we all have this a flurry of activity at the end of the month because that's when we close, and it's just like, whoa, okay. So that means that we all know exactly where we stand, right? So there's like no guessing, no seeing, oh my gosh, is that subscription going to go through? Did they change that subscription? Did they actually do a subscription like I told them to do? All that stuff. We go on and doing all that customer service, but like everything's run. Like we know exactly where our game plan is, where it begins, right? We've got to start and we've got to finish. And really, we have got 4 days because 28th, 29th, 30th, 31st. We really have 4 full days to what? To make a difference in people's lives. Dee Dee and I were messaging that this morning. I was messaging with Lita. Like that's what I was messaging with Jane. That's what business builders do. You're like, oh God, what are you doing? And you just yeah, like it's like go time. And it's super exciting. And actually Dee Dee and I were up late working too. But you know what? I'm refreshed this morning. I love waking up and working Plexus. I do. And I think about all the time. I don't know, like you need to take time to reflect, okay? So I think about this all the time. Like I wake up excited. I was first of all, let's start with the wake up part, okay? So you ask Megan, all right? She'll tell you the person you see right there doing all this is not the mother I grew up with. Like I don't know where she came from, but that is not the mom I grew up with. And we laugh about that all the time. It was like I was a person who I could barely get out of bed. Okay. And we have to remember these things, tell our stories. That's one of the things that is on my list. I hated morning. Okay. I always consider myself a night person. Now I consider myself a night person and a morning person. So now I'm both. But I hated getting out of bed. Mornings sucked. Okay. And I was like, everyone knew, don't even freaking talk to me until I have my coffee and however long I need it. Okay. Like, that's so uninviting. That's so unattractive. Like, I look back at that and I think, really? That's what the kids saw? Like, it's kind of embarrassing actually saying it out loud. Like, I hate that. Right. But I mean, people just think it's normal. You wake up cranky, tired, moody, just like with an ugly face, just like, I need my coffee, right? Well, now I drink coffee like a half a cup because I never get around to finishing it. I just like the experience of coffee, right? Anyway, so I get up and actually I started getting up earlier. I like it. So 6:45 was always my time to get up now. Like then it was like 8:15 and it was like, oh, maybe it wasn't, well, it was close to it. I would have coffee and then I would drive Meg to school or whatever. It was like, don't talk to me. And then it was also at 9 o'clock at night. Don't ask me a question because I'm not answering it after 9. My brain does not function. Okay. It was like, don't even say, oh, I need to study for that spelling test. Like, don't even talk to me. Um, but so 6:45 has been when I've been getting up with Plexus. And honestly, I wake up before my alarm, which is insane to even think that that happens to people. I was like, what? So but I changed it. It's just 15 minutes, and maybe I'll make it earlier because I do wake up earlier. I'll tell you, I wake up at 5, but so now I have it set to 6:30 to wake up because I thought, you know what, I could use 15 more minutes. Alita challenged me. So here's the thing, when you get to be diamond, like you're still always challenged. Like it never stops. Okay. Just so you guys know that. Like I'm not sitting back like this. Well, I wonder what the team's doing today. I know Dee Dee's like that is not what I'm doing. Okay. Even though that is the background, because I'm a detail person, even though that's the background on Power 30 graphic, but that's not what we're doing. But I love it. So anyway, so yeah, I'm working. I thought, you know what? Alita challenged me to do more messaging in the morning before I leave for the gym and water aerobics. Now we all know that that is my routine. That's a discipline that I have. But she made a point about how you really have to open up your business earlier, right? So, and here's the thing: I still have the choice, and I still do a lot of stuff in the afternoon because that's the option that I like. But it really does make sense, okay, to do more in the morning. So I wake up earlier. But anyway, so like it just, and so you take it, this is where I was going with this. I was like, why was I telling all this? So but take a minute in the mornings to reflect. And I was doing that this morning. I'll do that a lot in the beginning of the month, at the end of the month, whatever, like, and reflect. And I got really emotional. Like we are changing lives. Like we're literally changing lives. So when you get tired of messaging people and they say no, or frustrated that you can't close, or you just need those two and nobody is like saying yes, right? Like then something comes along and reminds you that we are changing lives. We're changing the trajectory of where somebody can go in their life. And I just got really emotional. Like I'm watching people's lives change. And when we change, we then start changing other people's lives. And it's so freaking cool, you guys. Like literally, like I was crying. Like it's just, that's why we do what we do. And you have to hold that. You got to remember that. And then take that same energy with you and start talking to new people. Because if the other people don't get it, guess what? There's billions of people in the world. We can, change people's lives. There's plenty of people out there. And here's the thing. The other thing is that, we're different than other people because if you've got a start and a finish, and this is where we're starting, there's a lot that happens in between. So a lot of times I've heard people call about it the dash in your life. And a lot happens during that time period. But here's the thing. We're different because we don't give up when it gets hard. We don't stop when it gets hard. That's what everybody else does. Either they don't understand it could be better or they give up too easily. And that's why we'll tell you it honestly is pretty simple to be in the top 1% because nobody wants to do the crap that you need to do, which actually isn't as hard as you think it is. You just need to, I was reminded when I went to meet with a personal trainer, there are two things that matter when really I'm just going to broaden it to any goal or discipline or anything like that, right? Consistency. Consistency rules all day long, right? It compounds. It's like compounding interest. Don't ever forget that because I actually think that is the most important, right? And the other he talked about was form, like for because obviously I was there for personal training, but think about the form, the systems, the disciplines that you have in your business. You can take that same concept and apply it to Plexus, your consistency and your form. And if you've got those, man, you can just soar. You can just soar. So don't ever forget that. Okay. So I dropped in one of our accountability chats that it was a real, and I'll put it into Energy Bus chat. So Alex Hormozy, I was just like, it was such a simple concept. And it blew my mind this morning. Of course, that's why we do personal growth, right? You never know when something's going to hit you. You're just in different seasons. Honestly, sometimes I think every day. You know what I mean? Like you'll just receive something if you keep listening, right? It's going to be received exactly where you need it. I believe that. I don't believe in coincidence. I believe that everything is providence. That's my thought. There is no coincidence. There just isn't, okay? And one of the things that that he talked about was really that people just don't have a personal this is what I took out of it. People don't have a personal growth mindset. That's why personal growth is so important, because really we talk about, let's start with this. We talk about how two people can have the same experience, right? And one handles it one way and one handles it another, right? It's like someone gets someone says no and they're just like, I don't like your stinking products. And that person's like, oh my God. And another one hears no and says, oh, you know what? Like, I think I could change the message this way, and I've got some other people to talk to. That's okay. They'll come around. Like the same experience. Okay. But, he talks about how a little bit about a poor, and this wasn't even his focus, but this is what I took out of it, a poor and a rich mindset. Okay. So he says when you're poor, right, you start looking around, you're hanging around, right? You've got a group of people, right? You've got your own community. And if you're poor, right? You're hanging around people who are poor. But if you're a little bit better off than they are, it's all relative. You think you're doing good. And it's like, no, right? So like it's all relative. You start hanging out with richer people, people with goals, people who talk about goals, people who want to grow, people who want to build wealth and all of that. And you want to rise up to whoever that billionaire is. It is just like it's all relative. And what I realize is that is the exact reason people stay mediocre in their life. They're comparing themselves to the bottom. I'm not as bad as them. Like, this is okay. I'm doing all right. My paycheck kind of covers pretty much what I've got going on, in the month. I'm doing okay. Yeah, I've got some credit card debt. It's not too bad. I've got a roof over my head, like just little things. And it's like, no, that is not the way that you need to think. It's like that perspective just does not suit a lifestyle that we are after. And you know and one of the other things, so that just really blew my mind, because that is exactly why people stay mediocre, because they're comparing themselves to the wrong thing, or they're not even open to any other opportunity, right? When we have a closed mind versus an open mind, like a growth mindset versus a closed mindset, right? So that we can do all this stuff. Are you a thermostat or a thermometer? Like it just goes, we can go on and on. We're different, okay? And the other thing is that people, we're doing, I don't know if you've seen this with like a lot of the diamonds, we're doing this whole we're all like posting together and doing this whole, right now we're on belief, because the belief in, again, we've got the products, the community, the business, all those things. And, one of the things that we've been talking about is that, people follow or chase a paycheck, really, in corporate America, right? We grow up, we go to college, we work a 9 to 5, you raise your family, you retire, you die. Like, that sounds so terrible. I'm thinking, I'm 62 and I'm just getting going. And you know what? Rodney I loved it. He goes, most people retire. He's like, you are refired. You're like firing up. He's like, you're refired, not retired. And I was like, oh my gosh, yes, I am. So he's like, yeah, you can totally see that. excuse me, and I don't want to sit around in a recliner and retire like that. Can you see, imagine that? I'd have to be in like some, I don't know, fancy pajamas or something. And like, I'd have to have someone like bringing me things or whatever. That's the only way that I would retire, right? And maybe that's coming at some point. But until then, I'm going to get up and go to the gym and pump some iron. Okay. Okay. Um, so I talked about corporate America and kind of the way things are chasing paychecks, right? Paychecks. And so that you can climb the corporate ladder. Okay. I mean, like literally, that's what I did. Okay. And but personal growth teaches us to follow or chase a passion and a purpose, right? For our life, right? It's a completely different drive. It leaves a completely different legacy. Right? So that is just so good. And Les Brown will tell you, life is hard, right? Life is hard if you do what's easy, and life could be easy if you do what's hard. And staying on that same mediocre path is hard, right? It's like choose your freaking hard, right? So if you've got negative mindset assumptions and all of that, if you're doing what is easy, but what if you do what's hard now and you break out of whatever, maybe you're the person in your family that's going to be a generation breaker like that. I'm telling you, I feel that way. And trust me, I was raised in a upper middle class family. Okay. So sometimes it seems like I have to remind myself, sometimes it seems kind of weird to say that I'm a legacy changer, but I am. Like, I really feel like I can look at Megan too, and I mean, she's the one who worked hard where she's at. We worked together or whatever, but I feel like we've definitely changed a legacy, right? We're leaving a legacy for our family that is just so different than mine. My dad worked hard. He had a car dealership. He was very successful. um he died at 43, which sucks, right? Because he didn't even see me graduate college or get married or have kids or any of that stuff. And it sucks because my dad was amazing. I loved him. But we can be legacy changers. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't even gonna go here. I don't even, but it reminds me, like, we always say you can get better or you can get bitter. And like what my mom did, she was so mad that my dad died that she has been bitter her whole freaking life. And it has been a challenge to like get through that. Like, because, she's my mother, right? We had a good life. And, and I mean, and she stayed home and she was always there. I always remember seeing her coming home when I would come home from school, and she would have odd jobs here and there. My dad bought her, it was called the Flower Crib. God, I bet you Megan doesn't even know the story. So anyway, but like, this is so weird going down this path, but like, so it had plants and flowers and all this stuff. It was really cool. And I could walk from my high school to the Flower Crib in town and whatever. So she would do little things like that here and there. But honestly, she never got over my dad dying, felt like life really shortchanged her. And she sat in that, but she didn't have to, right? She made that decision to do that. She doesn't even know that she made it, but she did. Like, you can't tell her that, of course. But I've learned to work through that and relate to her where she's at, not accept certain things that she does. And but I'm changing lives. I believe that I am that person, right? You can break out, you can you can make it so that life is maybe a little hard and you're working hard now so that it could be easy later, right? You work for what you want, right? You work. It's hard to have a marriage, it's hard to have relationships, it's hard to have kids, but you work for that and you change their lives day by day by doing this, right? You fight for that territory. That's what Les Brown says. You fight for that territory. And that's what we're doing, right? Because too many people just get caught up in distractions. And you could say that my mom just got caught up in that distraction. People get caught up in distractions. We're doing personal growth. And again, it really is about who we are becoming, right? And so distractions come and we reset because we need to know, because something even happened this morning and my mindset has been distracted and it's been pissing me off to no end. And I'm like, Cheryl, like rein it in. And this morning I finally reined it in. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So nothing changed about the situation, but my mindset. And I was like, oh my gosh, like whatever it is that was bothering me, distracting me, annoying me, pissing me off too, honestly, like it's not like I don't have that anymore. Instantly, my mindset shifted and I thought, oh my gosh, like nothing about my circumstance changed, but my mindset. How powerful is that? Oh man, that's good stuff, you guys, right? Okay, so get fired up here for the last 4 days, okay? Like take a few moments, soak it in, you know what I mean? Like think about what we're doing. And here's the thing. We need to tell our story more, okay, on social media. People need to see our eyes and hear our voice, okay, on social media, in your stories, right? And we need to tell a story. This is where I was, this is what I did, this is where I am now, and that's why it makes a difference. Like there are so many different perspectives that you can tell, right? And that's just such a good thing to do. And honestly, I'm sitting here looking at Nanzetta. I think that she does a good job of telling about, like, I remember when she first started posting, she's like, I just didn't even know this existed out here. You know what I mean? It's like, this is where I was, and this is where I am now, and this is where I'm going. That's the other thing. She tells people, this is where I'm going. And you know what? She has her own unique sense of humor, which cracks me up. But I always think the same thing. Like, I always think that I'm different. That was something that stopped me actually for a long time in Plexus. I was like, I'm different than everybody else. And I didn't think I could build, but you just be your own person, be your own personality, and you're going to attract those people. This is where I was, this is what I'm doing, this is where I'm going. Do you want to freaking come with me? Like, let's go, right? That's what we want to tell people, okay, you guys? And let people see your eyes, let people hear your voice, get in your stories, show emotion, right? This is where I want to go. Who wants to go with me? And that's really kind of where I wanted to end today. And the other thing is, and I posted this somewhere in some chat. Oh, I don't know, my leaders chat, I think. You can let what's going on stop you or propel you forward, right? You can let no's, or you can think, this is it. You can think, I'm just too far away from my goal. I just can't do it. And you give up and things slow down. And then you go into the next month in a terrible position. You lost momentum. And literally, it was a thought that you allowed to do that. Or you can take that same one. You know what? I'm not where I want to be, but I'm going to keep going. And I'm going to reach out, and you bring that energy and you keep going until you can't go anymore. And even if you don't hit that goal, right? Because for me to be a founding member by the end of August would be unrealistic to somebody else. But why would I stop? Because no matter where I get, I will be in a better position going forward, right, into next month. And if I take that energy and continue it, Cancun, here we come, right? Like, oh my gosh, that's another thing. Like, that should be in your stories and your posts as often as possible. Because honestly, travel, it's not a love language, but it's mine. Like, I love traveling. Like, that is such a incentive for me. And Alita would laugh. Plexus would say, oh, we're giving away this cash, you get this extra cash. I'm like, I don't give a crap. Like, even though money could buy travel, it was just never, now it incentivizes me, right? But it never did to begin with, but travel does. So you just never know who you're going to be speaking to. So talk about it all. Talk about money, talk about travel, talk about community, talk about products, talk about who you're becoming, talk about where you're going. Okay? I want you guys to talk. All right. That's what I got for you. I hope that this was inspiring. Now let's go.